Raise your hand if you love pancakes. Waffles, French toast, all those things. What is the thing that you put on top of all those things? Maple syrup. I had the great privilege recently of joining somebody who collects the sap from trees and turns it into pure maple syrup. It is quite the process, and I documented the entire thing and took videos of the process so I could show you exactly how it comes from the tree to our pancakes. It takes 40 gallons of sap from the tree to make 1 gallon of syrup. So to break that down a little bit, if we were to collect this much, 1 gallon of sap, you know how much syrup it would make? 1 gallon of sap from a tree would only render us this much maple syrup, 3 ounces. So it's a lot of work to collect all that sap. You don't get nearly as much as what you collect, but it is so worth it in the end. First, you have to find the maple trees, and sometimes you have to travel a long ways to get there. There are lines that go from tree to tree to tree, and they are each tapped. Each of the trees is tapped, and sap goes through the lines from one tree to the next, and it is collected in large barrels. Some trees have bags instead of the line and barrel system, and it's collected just from a single tap into a bag. To collect sap from the maple trees is when it freezes in the nighttime and thaws out during the day. So there's a very short window of time where you can get the best sap collection from the maple trees. So if you watch this, you'll see that there's a slow drip coming through down into the bag. So Dan's going to take off the bag. There's the tap where it's coming out of the maple tree.
Should be able to see it drip.
See that drip off?
About every 5 seconds.
Okay, so it's collected into that bag.
And it hangs on that.
That doesn't look like maple syrup, does it? There's a long process to make it into your delicious pancake syrup. Then you hang it back up and then it can fill up some more. There's one on the other side too. So they're all over these trees here. And then you can see those lines going between the trees. So all those blue lines that are going from tree to tree, those are collecting the sap that don't have bags hanging from them. And they all connect till they get to the barrels together. And then they're pumped out of the barrels.
Ready?
Yep, so if you disconnect that from the barrel, you can see how fast it's dripping down to fill that barrel up from all those trees that the line's connected to. So I have a little sample of the sap that comes out of the tree. You can see it's clear. I'm gonna see what it tastes like. Tastes like a little bit sweet water, not like syrup. So we're gonna find out how a syrup is made. The sap is pumped out of the barrels into this special tank. It's pumped a second time into another tank that's in the back of the truck that will bring it to where the boiler is for the next step. Collected all your sap, now is time to bring it to the boiler. The sap is pumped a third time to yet another tank where it will be directed to the boiler. The stove on the boiler has to get really, really hot to turn the sap into syrup. The boiling process takes a long time and is very extensive, but if you have the right equipment and you know what you're doing, you can get yourself some delicious maple syrup at the end of it.
Alright, so we're draining sap now. That's the final product. Not a fast, but it's coming. Here's everything boiling. See all the different levels of boiling. There's that. This is the raw sap going in right here.
So what's happening during the boiling process is most of the water is evaporated off, leaving it in a condensed version, which is mostly sugar.
Okay, so here's the finished product, and then we drained. This is a filter here. You can see that we took all, that's all the stuff that gets filtered out of the syrup. So you can see there's a few filters all lined up there ready to go. And then every once in a while you got to pull one of these off.
After the boiling process is complete, it's ready to bottle. And this is the finished product. Sweet, sticky, and delicious. And that is how pure maple syrup gets from the maple trees to your pancakes.